future of NPS. NPS is the big story. NPS is the big opportunity. If in the larger political landscape we are able to prove the legitimacy of NPS, then the reforms of EPFO will become inevitable. If NPS makes mistakes, if NPS flounders, then the conservatives will win. Okay, so I think that the story, the future of EPFO is being played out in NPS. If NPS works, and I personally think it's actually doing better than most people think, NPS is signing up millions of civil servants. It is delivering to them one of the lowest cost pension systems of the whole world. It is getting them into index fund investments. As the years go by, those investments will outperform EPFO or bank accounts and so on. And civil servants are an important lot. Civil servants have a disproportionate influence on the buying decisions of their community. The friends, relatives of a civil servant are going to look up to what a civil servant says. So I would constantly harp on the point of giving a fantastic customer experience to the civil servant participants of NPS who are there mandatorily. They don't have a choice. In 2002, a decision was taken. Every single new recruit into the civil service is going into NPS. So I see a very important story unfolding in NPS. NPS is past 1 million accounts. It's remorselessly growing every month. Mr. Gagan Rai will have the exact numbers, but my rough number is that we are already past 1 million accounts, and it just month after month it keeps thundering along. 1.2 million accounts. Month after month you just keep signing up accounts. Other than Tripura, West Bengal, Kerala, all the state governments are part of NPS, and we just have to hang in there. We should not get into the insurance game of trying to grow NPS by push, by getting into distribution charges. It's being done already by the mutual funds and the insurance companies. What's the value added of NPS if we try to turn it into a push-based individual account system? So I feel that NPS is a very important story, and hiding inside the success of NPS is the future potential for the reform of EPFO.
Just 2 points I want to add to what you just said. One is that it is a lowest cost product. Now, not only it's a lowest cost product, we have, the moment we achieve 3 million, then these costs will further come down by 20% and 40% respectively. So we are already there, and we have already achieved 1.2 million.
No, one clarification and one question. First of all, I'm not at any point supporting that all this has to be a push product. I'm just saying that is the way the industry thinks of the problem today, and we need to recognize that problem and start looking at incentive structures, whether they matter or not. But one question for you, Gagan. I think I hear you, Ajay, about the potential for NPS and so on, but even if these 1 million accounts, somebody needs to tell me what proportion of these, because remember, NPS is long-term money. It's 25, 30-year money. My sense is that 95% of this money is going into the NPS government bond scheme. We have a problem on our hands, fellows. There is no running away from this.
I'm coming to that, actually. That was my second point. You see, the scheme has been devised in such a manner that it goes into the fixed income group products. And in fixed income group, most of the money is going actually into mutual funds. And there is a limit today that not more than 5% can be invested in equities, because people, the feeling is that people don't understand equities market. They are not able to take the risk. Now with all this, during last 3 years, the return which various mutual fund managers have given is between 11 to 11.5%. Now this return is substantially higher than the return of 8.5% which EPFO gives. So we are in a situation where the subscriber is happy, the government employee is happy, and